All right. So in the last class, we were discussing about acute hepatitis, and we also discussed about chronic hepatitis. What happens? What are the stages that occur? What can you tell me about acute hepatitis? What are the phases of acute hepatitis? You don't need to go into detail, but what are the phases of acute hepatitis? Four phases of acute hepatitis. What are the four phases of acute hepatitis? Okay. What are the kind of injuries that occur in acute hepatitis? If you're not able to tell the phases, what do you see morphologically? What type of? वो तो last class में ही पढ़े थे. What are the types of injuries that will occur in acute hepatitis?
Sir, sir, hello.
Yeah, go on.
Hepatocellular injury, ballooning degeneration, acidophilic degeneration, bridging necrosis, and Kupffer hyperplasia.
Okay. Um, all right. Can you what can you tell me about hepatocellular injury? Where does it occur exactly?
Uh, it occurs in zone 3,
Which is
central
also
vein
called
of
central lobular zone. मैं बताऊँ. Okay. What is acidophilic degeneration? This is a question not just to her, it is to everyone. What is acidophilic degeneration? Okay. ठीक है. What can you tell me about chronic hepatitis? What is chronic hepatitis? What happens in chronic hepatitis? So there'll be no point of me teaching you if you're not able to read it later on, and if you're not able to recollect even if some basic things about that topic. It will be completely pointless because pathology is a sea of information. There'll be a lot of things that you have to memorize. Even if it is at your level, which is we are not going to a lot of detail at your level. We are still keeping it very basic at your level. These topics are meant to be much more bigger, but they are much more smaller for you. अब वो भी अगर नहीं रख सके तो एग्जाम में बहुत मुश्किल होती. Both pharmacology and pathology are extremely memory intensive. You have to make sure that you are reading it or else you'll forget it. अभी 2 दिन पहले 3 दिन पहले की क्लास अगर याद नहीं रह रही आपको, तो how are you supposed to go and write an exam on that final exam? कुछ मिरेकल करने वाले हैं, मैजिक करने वाले हैं उस दिन. कितने क्वेश्चंस चॉइस में छोड़ने वाले हैं आप लोग? पूरा पेपर ही चॉइस में छोड़ देते क्या? हाँ, जान दो पैथोलॉजी चॉइस में छोड़ दी है. So if you are lucky enough, you might get pathology and genetics in choice, but that is not always the case. You might get pharmacology a different paper, pathology different paper, genetics different paper. Sometimes you will get, see, pharmacology will definitely be a different paper altogether, and you might get P plus G, that is pathology plus genetics, or you might get P and G. So pathology के भी आप like you have to attempt certain questions to pass them, and genetics, and ये हर एक subject का weightage रहता. So for example, let us suppose 70 marks में से this is carrying 35 marks, this is carrying 25 marks and this is carrying 10 marks, you'll have to pass in each and every subject. मतलब इसमें pharmacology में let's suppose minimum 50% आना आपको, तो 18 marks इसमें आना, इसमें 13 marks आना, इसमें 5 marks आना पास होने को. Let us suppose you get 20 marks in this and you get 15 marks in this, but you get 3 marks in genetics, you fail the subject. That is how it will work. ठीक है, अगर अलग अलग दिया तो. So please make sure that you are reading, don't take this very lightly. ये अगर आपको से एक लास्ट ईयर पास कर दिए, ये ईयर पास करने का चांस बहुत कम है. इफ योर luck is so good, might be, but there is a very bleak chance that you will get passed as is. ठीक है, last year itself you skipped a lot of subjects. ये year please make sure that you read properly. Okay. Clearly now that you haven't read anything, what is the point of asking questions? Coming to amoebic liver disease. So in the last class we discussed about the last topic that we discussed about was pyogenic liver disease. Chronic liver abscesses में pyogenic liver abscess होता, which is caused by bacteria. Now we'll discuss about amoebic liver abscess. Now, amoebic liver abscess is less common. Okay, mainly occurs through entamoeba infection. Whenever a patient has entamoeba infection, when we were discussing about anti-amoebic drugs, I told you entamoeba histolytica with cyst will enter into the person's body, and once it enters, it will transform. Some of them will transform into a trophozoite. Those trophozoites have the capability of staying inside your intestine, or sometimes they have the capability, sometimes they will, if they want to, they will invade into the cellular structures, go into deeper tissues in your intestines, and they will reach the portal system, portal circulatory system. From portal circulatory system they can reach your liver very easily. That is how liver abscess occurs, through amoeba. Okay, entamoeba infection or pehle, and then the trophozoite form of that amoeba. Be careful, only trophozoite form can be found in different organs. Cystic form cannot travel here and there, only trophozoite form can. So whenever you see a secondary infection or secondary problem occurring because of amoeba or entamoeba histolytica, it is the trophozoite form that is causing the problem rather than the cystic form. Now, in any case, the trophozoite form of the amoeba in the colon will invade into the colonic mucosa, forming, you'll have flash-shaped ulcers. वो ulcers से deeper जाते जाता, and eventually it will lead to portal venous system, where your amoeba will multiply. It will start blocking. It will go up to your liver. There, it will start multiplying, and it will start blocking intrahepatic portal radicals. So the portal radicals which are present inside your liver, small intrahepatic portal radicals, those will start getting blocked. As such, what will happen is eventually, because those portal radicals are being blocked, blood supply gets blocked, oxygen supply gets blocked, and necrosis occurs. ठीक है, leading to abscess. वहां पर injury होना start हो जाती है. As soon as that trophozoite form is leading to is reaching your liver, inside your liver you have different intrahepatic radicals, ठीक है, essentially vessels, blood vessels. Those blood vessels will get blocked, ultimately leading to infarction of that area whichever it was supplying blood to, and eventually from infarction you will have necrosis of that area. अगर infarction हो रहा, meaning oxygen नहीं पहुंच रहा एक जगह को, eventually if that circulation is not re-established in that position, you will have necrosis in that area. Now, pathologically, the changes that occur is that you will see a single abscess. More often than not, amoebic liver abscesses are solitary. I'll show you an image of amoebic liver abscess. And one second. Mm. Yeah. So this is an amoebic liver abscess. This is how it will look. Okay. Quite different from pyogenic liver abscess. In amoebic liver abscess, it is generally a single big abscess. Pyogenic abscess may you can have several small ones as well along with a big one. Isme generally it is solitary, and it will be located in the right lobe, specifically in the posterior superior region or posterior superior portion of the liver. Okay. Now the size will vary, but generally they are the size of an orange. Orange, the fruit that you eat, वो size के रहते हैं. So pretty prominent and pretty big. And the center of the abscess, you will see necrotic area. It will start off with necrosis, and as it keeps going outward, you will start seeing pus, very thick pus, reddish brown colored pus present near that necrotic area. Okay, this is the result of liver hepatocytes getting damaged severely. You will in that necrotic area you will see degenerated liver cells, you will see WBCs, RBCs, you will see strands of connective tissue. वो connective tissue इसलिए आ रहा क्योंकि your body is trying to regenerate or re-establish regeneration there. It's trying to heal that, but it obviously it is a failed attempt, so that is why you will see strands of connective tissue and a lot of tissue debris altogether. Okay. um, and the amoeba itself, the organism will be found at the edge or the margin of that abscess. Okay, they will not be present in the necrotic area, they'll be present on the margins of the necrotic area or margins of the abscess itself. Okay, so that is about amoebic liver abscess. If you have doubts, if you want me to repeat again, please feel free to ask, because I will ask questions. If you didn't understand anything, or if you want me to repeat anything in with respect to amoebic liver abscess, ask. You can put it in the chat as well. Okay. Now coming to the next topic, we have cirrhosis. So cirrhosis is essentially irreversible liver damage. Now there can be several reasons why cirrhosis is occurring. I'll show you one small image that will help you understand the small difference between hepatitis and cirrhosis, because they both include hepatic damage, but there is a slight difference between them. See, if you look at hepatitis, you will obviously have inflammation of liver. Now, whether that hepatitis is occurring because of a virus or that hepatitis is occurring because of various other conditions, ultimately there is inflammation. That inflammation, if it is going unchecked, if it is not being treated in time, liver function will become specifically severely abnormal. Sometimes you'll need to perform a transplant of the liver because liver is failing, and ultimately it can lead to liver cancer. And what will happen is liver cancer nahi bhi hua to because of all of this damage, there'll be a lot of scarring in the liver, there'll be a lot of irreversible damage in that liver. That stage when your liver has gone into irreversible damage is called cirrhosis. Now, the most common cause of cirrhosis will be alcoholic cirrhosis. In your syllabus for you, you have 8 different causes of cirrhosis, which we'll discuss how cirrhosis can occur from 8 different causes. The first and most important, as well as the most common cause of cirrhosis, will be alcohol. Now, it is hard to put an exact number on how much um, amount of alcohol will cause cirrhosis, but generally speaking, chronic alcohol consumption, that too, it will again depend on gender slightly. But if you let us suppose someone is imbibing alcohol every day, at least 80 grams of any type of alcoholic beverage, whether it be hard alcohol or lighter alcohol like beer, if they are drinking at least 80 grams of alcohol every day for 10 consecutive years, let us suppose someone drinks or imbibes 80 gram of alcohol for 10 years, this is a good, there is a good chance that this person will develop cirrhosis. So progression कैसा रहता, the patient, especially if it is alcoholic type of cirrhosis, progression I'll show you कैसा रहता, 1 second. See, this is how it will progress. Now, whenever a healthy liver is, let us suppose there is a person who is healthy and they started drinking copious amounts of alcohol. What will happen is, as they keep on drinking alcohol more and more, at one point of time, fat starts getting accumulated inside your body. Now, I will not get into the detail of how alcohol metabolism occurs, but essentially, what will happen is alcohol will cause fatty liver. Alcohol will get metabolized inside your body and it will produce a very specific kind of metabolite or one product called aldehyde. Okay? uh, this aldehyde will derange fat metabolism, Aldehyde, whenever it is present inside your body, it has the capability of deranging, of disrupting, of stopping, or making, essentially disrupting your fat metabolism, how fat is being metabolized in your liver specifically. Because of that, what happens is that liver will start storing more and more amount of fat. Okay, that stage is called fatty liver. It is also called steatosis. Okay, accumulation of fat inside the liver specifically, anywhere wherever fat is getting accumulated, that's steatosis. But specifically यहाँ पर steatosis type of inflammation occur हो रहा. Eventually, if this is not stopped, you will start seeing fibrosis of the liver. Okay, even till this point, as you can see, there is a reverse arrow mark. Okay, that reverse arrow mark represents that if that person stopped taking alcohol or stopped consuming alcohol even at the stage of fibrosis, so let us suppose they stop drinking alcohol at steatosis, or they stop drinking alcohol at fibrosis, there is a chance that their liver will regenerate back, because your liver has extremely good regenerative capacity. You already know that even if you cut your liver in half, it will regenerate back. It will not uh, physically come back completely, like you will not have complete anatomical regeneracy, but you will have functional regeneration. ठीक है, meaning you will get 100% of the function back. जितना function करता था उतना function करता, but you might not get complete the whole liver back. ठीक है, as in let's suppose initially a person had about 600 grams of liver. Okay, that's the liver size was, let's suppose, 600 grams, and because of some injury or transplant or whatever, it became 400 grams. Later on, when your liver will regenerate back, it might only come back to 450 or 500, but it will have complete functional capacity. Each and every cell that is present will do more than its function which it used to do. ठीक है, one second, I'll show it to you what I mean. ठीक है, let us suppose इतनी liver है person को. ठीक है, this is 100% of that person's liver. This is a healthy person who has a healthy liver. Now this person's function, liver's function is 100%. ठीक है, and their anatomical presence, or the total anatomical, how should I put it, total liver is 100%. There are 600 grams of hepatocytes present. Okay, completely hepatocytes and all auxiliary structures that are present. 600 grams represents 100% of the liver. It also represents 100% of function, meaning yeah, har ek 100% of cells will do 100% function. Now let us suppose they undergo some transplant. Okay, and they are donating a little bit of their liver to someone else. Now let us suppose their liver looks something like this. Okay, and let us suppose at this point of time it is 300 grams rather than 400 grams. Easy calculation. 300 grams हो गया. तो मैं क्या करा, ये 100% से 50% कर दिया ना लिवर को. 100% 600 grams था, उसमें से मैं आधा किसी को दे दिया. I'm specifically cutting the liver in half and I'm donating it to someone else. So 50% of my liver is left. Meaning this 50% should have 50% function. The functional capacity of that liver should be decreased by 50% as well. ठीक है. Now liver is, यहाँ तक समझ में आया तुम लोगों को? Are you able to follow what is happening? I took one liver which was 100% and I performed transplant on that healthy person. So essentially I cut the liver in half. I gave the other half to some person who didn't have a liver or whose liver was not working. And in that healthy person, now 300 grams is left, which will represent 50% of the liver, which has 50% function as well. It will only be able to do half the functions of, half the function, not numerically, half the function in quality, in the sense that जितना भी function करते थे वो जरा कम हो जाता, जो कैपेसिटी पे करते थे वो कम हो जाता, मेटाबोलाइजिंग कैपेसिटी कम हो जाती, कोएगुलेटरी फैक्टर्स प्रोड्यूस करने की कैपेसिटी कम हो जाती, फंक्शंस पूरे करती, बट that liver will not be able to function at 100% capacity. It will only function at 50% capacity. Okay, I hope that you guys are following because I don't hear anyone asking doubts. Now let us suppose that 300 grams liver है. ठीक है, इतना liver है. This is 50% of the liver anatomically. ठीक है, and function is also 50%. Now what happens is, let us suppose the person is recovering functional capacity of 100% over 2 years or 1 year. Let's suppose 1 year, then 2 years. Meaning within 1 year, the person's functional capacity, their liver is functioning as good as it used to. ठीक है, बिफोर द ट्रांसप्लांट जैसा काम कर रहा था वैसा ही काम कर रहा. बट द कैच हियर इज दैट function has increased by 50%. Your anatomical size will not increase by 50%. It will not go back to 600 grams. It might come to 450 or 500 grams. ठीक है, so 100% function कैसा दे रहा? Each and every hepatocyte which is present in that 450-500 grams is working more than its own capacity. ठीक है, so for example there are 10 employees in one company, let us suppose. ठीक है, in one company there are 10 employees and they are producing let us suppose they are writing 10 papers per day. ठीक है, their function is to type. Type, they are typing 10 papers per day, these 10 employees. मतलब daily output 100 papers का हो गया ना. Now let us suppose one day these employees became 5. ठीक है, one day the number of employees that came to the office were only 5. ठीक है, at this point each and every employee was giving 10 papers per day. That is how I was getting 100, right? Now I want the same capacity. I need 100 papers to be typed. What I will do is I will ask those 5 to type 20 papers now. So each and every member or each and every professional who is a part of my office is doing double of their job. The same way, in this scenario, this new liver that has regenerated, each and every hepatocyte and each and every cell inside the liver will do more than its capacity. That is how you get 100% functional capacity, even if you do not get 100% anatomical capacity. I hope you are understanding the logic here. If you didn't understand, please feel free to ask. All right. So as I was saying, in this thing, right? So healthy liver say steatosis हो रहा, steatosis से fibrosis हो रहा. Even at this point of time, let us suppose the person stops drinking alcohol, their liver will regenerate back. ठीक है, the dead cells will not come back, but functional capacity will come back. ठीक है. Now, if the person does not stop at fibrosis as well, that damage will go into irreversible damage, which is cirrhosis. ठीक है, there will be micronodular or macronodular changes. Your lobular architecture will get deranged, and ultimately it will lead to cirrhosis. And from cirrhosis, there is no coming back. Cirrhosis say you can, even if you stop drinking alcohol, there is a very light or very bleak chance that the liver will come back to fibrosis. More often than not, 80-90% of the time it will not come back. Once damage is done, up to cirrhosis it is done. You cannot reverse it back. The only other options would be stopping alcohol consumption and preserving whatever function is left, or performing a transplant. Those are the only two options that you can do. And eventually this cirrhosis can cause cancer. Okay, hepatic carcinoma. Okay, so that is HCC essentially. Cirrhosis, if left unchecked over time, it can cause hepatic carcinoma. That is the progression of cirrhosis, especially alcoholic cirrhosis. Now, microscopically, if you look at the pathological changes that are occurring in the liver in alcoholic cirrhosis, you will see that there will be small nodules that are coming on the surface of the liver. So वो nodules कैसे दिखते हैं? 1 second. See, this is how those nodules will look. So if you look closely, there are small nodules that are occurring throughout the surface of the liver. This type of change is called micronodular cirrhosis. These nodules are very small. They are less than 3 mm in diameter. Okay? So in micronodular cirrhosis or in alcoholic cirrhosis, what you will see is micronodular cirrhosis occurs. Nodules less than 3 mm in diameter. Okay. Very small minute nodules will appear throughout the liver. On the whole surface of the liver, you will see these nodules. Liver itself will become very large. It will become, there will be hepatomegaly. You will see that liver is becoming large, fatty. liver becomes large, fatty. This is the steatosis part, and weighs about 2 kgs. So it will significantly increase in size. Okay, your liver will become much more larger, much more fatty, and it will weigh about 2 kgs. You will see that your lobular architecture inside the hepatocyte, inside the liver, will get completely destroyed. What will happen is central veins will become very, very hard to find. Also, you will start seeing hepatocytes will undergo slow proliferation. You might see a few regenerative nodules coming back. Okay, even in micronodular cirrhosis, you will see that your body is trying to regenerate, it is trying to repair a little bit, whatever it can. And as a result, you will see a connective tissue, you will see disorganized masses of hepatocytes, you will see regenerative nodules coming back. This is all happening in alcoholic cirrhosis. Okay. Eventually, what will happen is there will be necrosis, there will be inflammation, there will be necrosis. You will see a lot of mononuclear cells coming into the area. Especially, they will start invading the bile duct. Bile duct proliferation will occur. Okay. Uh, all of these are changes that will occur in alcoholic cirrhosis. At one, this is all part of cirrhosis. Okay. Irreversible damage. Even though your body is trying to regenerate back, you will not be able to come get back functional capacity. It'll be completely diminished. Slowly it will start degenerating even more. At one point it will go up to cancer. Okay, so that is alcoholic cirrhosis. Now if you want me to repeat it, or if you have doubts, please feel free to ask. Okay, now coming to post necrotic cirrhosis. Post necrotic cirrhosis में nodules are much more larger. ठीक है, this is also called macronodular type of degeneration. ऐसे रहते हैं. The nodules are much more bigger in this, in post necrotic cirrhosis. Instead of small nodules appearing in this, much more larger nodules will appear, and they will be irregular nodules. They will not have any consistency about them, and you will see that their margins are also not completely, how should I put it, clearly defined or demarcated. Okay, you will see broad bands of connective tissue appearing. The connective tissue that appears in within the hepatocytes, or between the hepatocytes, sorry, those will become much more thicker and much more larger. They will see big bands of connective tissue coming or present inside that post necrotic liver. And the most common cause of post necrotic liver is viral hepatitis. Okay, if we talk about the etiology of post necrotic cirrhosis itself, the most common, or at least 25% of patients, one-fourth patients who have post-necrotic cirrhosis, they will give you a history of recent or remote attacks of acute viral hepatitis. So either they have had acute hepatitis in the past, or they just suffered from a bout of acute hepatitis. Sometimes these patients might also have chronic hepatitis. Chronic hepatitis, say they are developing post-necrotic cirrhosis at one point of time. That is the number one cause. Then sometimes drugs. One second. Drugs and chemicals. ठीक है, chemical hepatotoxins, for example phosphorus, carbon tetrachloride, mushroom poisoning. ठीक है, मैजिक मशरूम्स जो बोलते हैं उसकी पॉइजनिंग से भी, या any other agent that can act as a hepatotoxin that has the capability of causing post necrotic cirrhosis. It will first cause inflammation, वहां से necrosis होता, वहां से necrotic cirrhosis होता. Now there are some other factors as well. Others include certain infections, for example, brucellosis, brucella से जो होता, या parasitic infestations. It can be a parasitic infestation of the liver that is leading to necrosis and leading to cirrhosis. It can be a metabolic disease like diabetes, or it can be advanced ALD, alcoholic liver disease. It can be an advanced form of alcoholic liver disease that is turning necrotic, and that necrotic uh, tissue is causing cirrhosis. Okay. Pathologically, you will see that the liver will become very small. In the previous category, in the previous type, you saw that liver is becoming large, right? In this, liver will become much more smaller. It will weigh less than 1 kg. Liver will be less than 1 kg. Okay. And its shape will become very irregular. It will have a lot of scars on it. You will see nodules of varying size. Nodules will be regular as well. Some small, some of them will be very big, and you will see a lot of scarring on the surface. Okay. Nodules themselves can vary in between 3 mm to a few centimeters. Okay. So they can be small nodules as well, they can be larger nodules as well. Now, alcoholic liver necrosis is usually inconspicuous in this condition. If you look at it microscopically, the liver itself, you will not be able to see necrosis like through microscope. You will not be able to find it very easily. It will be very inconspicuous. You'll see small dots of necrosis occurring throughout the liver. You might not even be able to identify them properly. Okay. Sometimes you will see that there will be fibrous septa that that have become very broad, and fibrous septa that are proliferating quite a lot. You will see mononuclear cells invading into the septa. Okay. You will also see proliferation of bile duct occurring in post-necrotic cirrhosis. It is trying to regenerate back whatever it can. It is trying to regenerate back, because what happens is, whenever cirrhosis occurs, or specifically in post-necrotic cirrhosis, because bile ducts initially got damaged, bile will start literally spilling around in your liver. Okay, there is no route for that bile to go away. So bile will start spilling around in the liver, and it will cause damage itself. So your body will try to re-establish that bile ducts and bile ductules. Okay, that is why you'll start seeing proliferation of bile ductules. Now, the lobe itself, if you see different lobes of the liver, you will see certain parts of liver which are completely unaffected, and you will see certain parts of liver which are like completely necrosed. So you will see a stark contrast in this thing. Lobular architecture can vary quite a lot. You will see normal lobular architecture in certain areas, and abnormal architecture in certain areas. The areas which are not involved, you will see completely healthy and normal portal tracts, central veins, hepatic globules. All of them will be normal. But the areas which are necrosed, or which are undergoing necrotic cirrhosis, those will be completely gone. Okay. So that is about post-necrotic cirrhosis. We'll continue with the other types of cirrhosis in the next class. Please make sure that you read.